It is now.
Did I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I make that motion.
Is that
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Joy, because of the connections, I'm going to ask that you bring your topic up right now, okay?
This is Joy?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I was going to be here in support of Caitlin Damon. I thought she was going to be calling in on this meeting.
She's here.
Oh, she's here. Okay, would you like me to start, or do you want her to start, or what would you like?
Oh, go ahead, Caitlin. It was you that initiated this.
John, can you get rid of the cookie in the middle of the screen?
There's nothing on the screen for me.
Me either.
There's an X on it, Bill. X it out.
I don't see anything on the screen.
I don't see any X on it.
Well, I had a box that, asked us to, we were notified that it's being recorded and there was an X on it.
It says leave meeting or got it.
Got it.
Got it. That's it.
Bingo. Thank you.
Caitlin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name's Caitlin Damon. I work for the town of Cranberry Isles, live on Islesford. I manage public safety out here, our fire and emergency services. And I've talked to Chris Moore and John regarding some ferry issues we've been having with Beal and Bunker. They've been having some major maintenance issues. We're down to one boat right now this winter with the Sea Queen being out of service for some fuel tank stuff they've got going on, and we're not sure we're going to get that boat back. And they're currently using the exclusively using the Double B, which is a much smaller vessel. So I wanted to reach out to you guys and discuss the options that we have going forward. I've spoken to John and I believe he's approved the Miss Lizzie running. If Beal and Bunker can't, if they're down for maintenance, or say the weather's a little too bad for the smaller boat, but maybe the Miss Lizzie could handle it. They already run our federally subsidized commuter ferries, which is an early morning run and then an evening run. But then the larger issue being that currently Beal and Bunker, we have a lot of concerns about their viability going forward, and just wanted to kind of get some information and start a dialogue about the potential for that ferry company maybe not operating in the future and what that would look like for us. I've looked at your harbor ordinance and your commercial operators permits a little bit, but I know there's a lottery system and all of that. So, the ferries are our lifeline. So we just wanted to kind of reach out to you guys and let you know what's going on our end.
I think before, this is my opinion, I think before we make any changes in our rules and regulations about who services the islands, that you've got to get a clear statement from Beal and Bunker about their viability, whether they intend to carry on or not. The wintertime is not a problem, but the summertime would definitely be a problem. And I don't think that we can just authorize both boats to run willy-nilly and keep any kind of organization on our float on this end. So
Right.
I think you need to get clarified from Beal and Bunker on their status.
That's been sort of our issue as of right now. We haven't really been able to get a good feel from them as to how things are going to be going forward. I've been speaking with Paul Hughes quite a bit, quite regularly, regarding some of their safety issues that they've had, and some of the downtime they've had for maintenance. And I'm just not sure that they recognize the severity of the problem and how that could potentially impact the community if that ferry were to kind of not run. Right, that's kind of where we're at right now, is a big, so anyway, I know we're not gonna solve the problem tonight, but I just wanted to at least let you all know, kind of what's going on our end and how we see things right now. And then, at least start a conversation, and then maybe we might have to continue a conversation going forward if Beal and Bunker is maybe not able to fulfill their role.
Yeah, well, it's my opinion that that's where you should start before you ask us to make any changes here.
I think with the winter season where the Miss Lizzie is currently here and has the authority to run, it gives me the right to allow them to fill in when the Beal and Bunker ferries are broken down. But when we get to May into the summer season, that ability is not there. So this is something that maybe you should put a priority on, trying to figure something out before the summer season starts, and come back to us with some ideas and see what we can do. I don't know if that fits with everyone else's thoughts.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, John. I'd like to hear from the other members of the committee.
Does Beal and Bunker have to give up their ticket before we give it to someone else? Because it's their ticket.
They would have to give it up, or it would have to be taken from them for a reason.
Right.
So we issue them a permit to operate, but we don't require them to operate, correct?
Oh, that's correct.
But their status is reviewed with every other commercial operator yearly, or should be, per our ordinance. So meaning if they're not using it,
Actually, things have run pretty well for a long time. And this is like a new, you're throwing us kind of a curveball. Because I think right now, to change operators, we would actually have to take away their permit. That's my understanding.
That would be mine too. Currently they are operating and doing what their license says they can do. I mean, we're really looking at a what if here, which is something that's very possible that could happen. But until they go outside of their commitment to us and to the islands and don't provide the services, I think our hands are tied.
Okay, that just offers us a little clarification. Whereas, I'm not wholly familiar with how your operator permits work. And, we've been a little surprised too, I think, this fall, not having the Sea Queen in the water and not having a clear timeline as to when we might, be able to, when Beal and Bunker might have that boat back. So, just wanted to reach out to you and kind of see how things would potentially move forward in that instance. And I know that the summertime is incredibly congested in Mount Desert at the marina. So, that's of a big concern for us too.
Caitlin, I think we're putting the ball back in your court, but I think you have to straighten it out and come back to us with something more definitive. Because right now you're asking us to solve this problem and it's maybe temporary, but we can't do it on a full-time basis the way it is.
Right. Yeah, no, I hadn't anticipated that you would pull any permits or do anything drastic today. I just wanted to, put a face to my name and kind of just let you know that we do have an issue, and that it might become a bigger issue as time goes on, so that, at least John solved it initially with letting the Miss Lizzie run a little bit more. But as of right now, we're kind of, things are up in the air for us too. So just wanted to start a conversation, that's all.
Yeah. I think we've gone about as far as we can tonight. And I appreciate your concerns. Obviously, the islands need the service, but we've got to have some more information or a little more clarity, I guess. Any other comments from the board members?
I
Okay.
would like to say this, Brett and John, that this is certainly a serious situation for them out there. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've heard all sorts of stories, so, the stories, I don't know whether they're true or not, but.
Yeah. All right. Caitlin, I'm gonna ask us to move on if that's okay with you. Are you satisfied right now?
Yeah, yep. I'll be in touch when I have some more information, and I appreciate your time.
Okay.
And I want to thank you too very much. And it's really a relief for me to hear that under emergency situations, there can be another boat that could help us during these times of not being able to have passenger service. The mail route contract would be something different. And that would be something that Beal and Bunker really needs to be there. It's their contract, their responsibility. We don't want to step on their toes, but I really appreciate Caitlin. She's brought this in full clarity to you all. And we're starting a dialogue and a conversation so you can understand where we are. And hopefully we can get Beal and Bunker involved in this too, as we're going forward. I think that would be a good way of going forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Joy. Thank you. And have a nice evening. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm gonna have cheesecake.
Oh, good. And next big item on the agenda is a presentation by Greg Johnson about our bid process and the bids we've received. So Greg, are you on board?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I'm gonna turn it over to you right now.
Okay. John, did you have a chance to email around my email this morning?
I did.
Okay, so you guys have all received that, nodding and saying, read it, and I'll give a synopsis, and then maybe we'll take feedback from you guys. Basically, after pretty lengthy bid process, we've got 2 bids back, which I don't think was a good, like I said in the email, a good cross section of the industry. 2 out of we hand delivered 9 packages, plus being in the paper, plus being on the website. Based on all of the big process we've done for Mountains and other towns, I don't think 2 is a good number. And then the bids, of course, came in high. The one number was close to $1 million. The other one's $872,000. And so we have to kind of discuss those. To me, were higher than expectations and the estimates. And I think there's a few things going on. The amount of stone in the price equates to about 60% of the cost in the abutments. That's 60%. And we had, we started after the Harbor Committee had chosen that stone. We put an addendum up there and made sure everybody had it that said, if you guys want to, you can source another source of stone. And both of the contractors did not source another stone by choice. They just went to that one source, which I think is high by what I see in the unit pricing here. So,
That water stone,
what's that, Bill?
is that fresh water stone?
It was not. And in fact, early on, I had asked some numbers from Freshwater Stone in helping me prepare the estimates and talk about cutting stones. And some of the information they had was a lot lower than what I saw come through in the stone we chose, which was surprising. Now, before we did get the bids back, the stone company had called and said, hey, we're sending all our packages out to bid people. Is it the taper cuts or the butt end cuts? And I remember in a meeting with this group, we said, geez, there's a lot of cuts, and maybe it was even Bill, I'm not gonna, we said, well, let's think about reducing the angle cuts on some of the ends of those butt joints. And we modified before we went out to bid and put square butt joints on it. I feel like the stone number was, we informed them that they should be receiving bids. I don't know that the number they were giving contractors was based on the square butts or the tapered. So to me, I'm sure you guys have seen the numbers. Numbers are high. I think we got to find out some alternatives to rein it in. And I've suggested a few, but I guess I'd like to hear more from the board if you've had a chance to review my email and anything else and what your thoughts are.
Well, my thoughts are that the stone is what's adding the high cost to this project. And well, we only had 2 bidders. I suggest maybe we revise the bid format and eliminate the stone requirement. But that's.
I have a question. Who were I think you said you hand delivered 9 bids to people. Have we been given a list of who were given given the information to?
I'm not sure who picked it off the town's website. Of course, it was a public bid. The list of not. Go ahead. Were you saying something, Donna?
No, I was just wondering who the 9 that you handed it to were.
Oh, the 9, we picked a number of local contractors, including like Sargent, RF Jordan, Goodwin, Scott's, BCM, Proc. I can give you get the list. It's not right at my fingertips, just to make sure that people in the general locale didn't have to go get it on the town's website and print them out. We are wise to make sure that they have it in their hands, so it's sitting on their desk. And it's, almost an 8-week period for a bid is pretty long. I think there's a couple of factors going into it, but Donna, if you want the full list that I handed it to.
Well, no, I was just curious about who got it and what follow-up was with those people and as to why they don't want to bid on it. Do you know that?
A couple of them just said they didn't have time, frankly.
So busy.
Yeah, that was my first reaction, is that there's so much work out there that we were lucky. Well, I didn't know it was that bad, but probably lucky to get the 2 bids that we got.
The main component was the stone. So one person that didn't bid, a local person with the barge service, went and asked about getting the same stone cut. Some of the pieces are 16 feet. And so basically the structure is being held by a lot of the stone. And he got a price from Freshwater Stone of $100,000 for the stone. And the quarry we picked, he got a price of $349,000 for the stone. So that there wasn't enough leeway in that, for him to complete the job.
Chris, they all were given the opportunity, though. The bid did allow them to get other stone prices. It's strictly,
Correct.
It did. And I think what I asked the people that did respond, I said, why didn't you choose that option if you knew the stone was costly? And at least the 2 people that said, we just came down to the end and didn't have time to go explore other stone sources. We just sourced the one. I asked if you'd read the addendum. They said yes. That said, do you think there's cost savings in it? The answers were yes. So I agree. I don't know why they didn't implore that. The other thing was a little, I don't say, usually I like to encourage the contractors to say, hey, we did it this way before and we can save money and show their expertise. We actually allowed a slot and it's worked very favorable. It says contractor suggested cost saving alternative. What is the deduct and describe it? That's in both abutments. Tell us what you think is reasonable. Neither of the results even suggested how to save it, meaning I'm not saying there was a lot of preparation. A, didn't look like there was a time spent to actually find a better price for stone even though they're allowed. B, it didn't look to me like they gave any suggestions of how they wanted to save money. They just threw it at it. And that usually to me is, I don't know, I'm always ears open when it comes to putting your hands on things and putting it together. And I was a little disappointed that that didn't come through as any suggestions, you know?
But I think we're partly to blame with us rushing the project, one, and two, not looking at other alternative for material sources. We went for aesthetics. I mean, you could have done a piling, you could have done concrete, we could have had other options, and we went with basically the most, expensive way, as Bill had pointed out numerous times during the project.
Maybe RF Jordan is just too busy and doesn't want it anyway. I mean, that job did up on 3 between Solmesville and Northeast Harbor. They had to go back and fix the right of way and the bicycle lane and all this other stuff in the middle of the summer.
So
Are we asking Greg to submit a different bid for different materials?
Sure.
first, I think we probably, one thing we should consider too, both of them in the amount of stone to get it out of the quarry and starting in March, I think probably contributed, Ben pointed out, to get award in March and start in March, but have to shut down at May. Even some other people that were delving through the bid specs at the time called and asked about that. I think in the end, they felt that window kind of pinched them in getting stone and getting out there. So whatever that alternative is, I think it involves a group discussion on timing. And as we said, maybe an alternate to the full stone.
Do you think the March to May time frame is unrealistic, Greg?
If there's, well, I think it's tough. It's tough for them to get anything lined up in that short period of time, I think. And I think the bids show that. And that's actually just the feedback I got during the bid. A couple of them, even who we didn't receive bids, had called and asked and said, would we consider that? And in fact, one of the bidders included that they would have to wait a season for asphalt. So I think it's a contributing factor for sure.
If the asphalt's not the holdup right now.
No, exactly. But stone to get much done between March and May, I think I did field a few questions on that. And
how does the committee feel about extending it into the month of June? I mean, we could maybe suffer through disruptions during June, but July obviously would be hard.
Not for that price tag.
Yeah, but is 1 month going to gain us what we need?
Well,
And do we have to have that work done this spring?
Nothing's catastrophic gonna fail. And I mean, that pretty fiscally irresponsible, I think, to spend more than twice what our engineer told us, we should be spending.
I think it's nice to have the granite, but I wonder really how important that is. And, when you think of it, a lot of it, arriving by boat, you'd see it, but you wouldn't see it a lot. I would think we should be able to find a reduction either in the style of the granite. And I think we were just choosing it for aesthetics, but either the style of cut or reducing the use of the granite.
Along that line, story, one of the things we considered is actually raising a shelf up to concrete above the splash zone. And for what is left of exposed granite of just blocking, may surprise us because we get rid of the larger support stones that spread out the base and a veneer. It would be interesting to just, if we explored what just a veneer up out of the water would do at granite. That was my thoughts, but I guess it could be done.
Well, and we've lived with the poured granite cantilever armature, you know, over at the North Dock forever, and no one ran screaming because it looked ugly.
Yeah, it's true, and actually served us pretty well. I think this conversation is pushing us back to you, Greg, that you're gonna have to do some re-engineering for us.
I think I believe that, but I actually think there's a refiguring of materials and costs before you re-engineer. You make assumptions on what we would do to value, what I'd say, value engineer it into the realm. Figure out all the cost of a simple replace in kind of what you got. So you know you could have something very similar to that. And potentially a different source of stone. What does that do to the cost of it? And report back to the committee how that may happen. That in itself is the way I would approach it before we would redesign and rebid.
I make a motion, we reject the current bids and ask Greg to do as he set forth.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Chris, you want to clarify your motion, please?
So I'm asking to reject both bids and ask Greg to not totally re-engineer, but reevaluate for cost savings. Is that good?
Yeah. Are you happy with that, Greg?
I think that makes sense, and will that, I think, and the board has. Yes, that makes sense to me. That was in line with my thinking.
Okay, I still think we should try to keep our same time frame right now. So actually, I think the ball's going to be in your court, but I'm going to ask for a vote on this motion. All in favor of Chris's motion, raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Opposed? It's carried. Well, Greg, Merry Christmas.
Well,
Before you go,
Is what-
though, I mean, I think if the time frame is creating a real negative effect on us for us, then why wouldn't we consider changing it? We do need contractor response.
Yeah, but I think if we get away from as much stonework as we had, I think the time frame might be more realistic.
Right.
Let's go ahead with what we've got right now and see if we can make some progress.
And
Okay.
Greg, you'll be unemployed over Christmas.
I'll be unemployed. Hopefully I'm starting Wednesday.
Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up?
There's one other thing on the agenda.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, but yeah, okay, the next item on the agenda is overtime docking.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg.
Have a nice vacation.
Thanks. You too.
Merry Christmas.
You too, guys. Thank
Can everyone see their minutes?
Yeah, so I asked John for, as we see in the summertime, the repeat offenders parking too long. My thought was, sometimes we just charge them the going rate for overnight or that. Maybe we should look at doubling the rate so it hurts a little bit when they park their boat too long.
Yeah.
Are you
Are you
talking
speaking about particular areas or what, where is this problem?
So it can happen on the public dock, and it can also happen with some certain commercial operators leaving their boat all night, so they block other operators from coming in.
Are you clearly stating, speaking about overnight? Or are you just talking about when someone stays for 3 hours instead of 2?
I was starting with just the overnight, how you bill for the per foot, they just pay it and go along like would be the going rate. So if a yacht come in, or not specifying any individual, that it's not the same as someone that had booked, called ahead, made a reservation, and then tied up appropriately.
Okay, if you guys would allow me, I would like to reach out to a bunch of other harbors and marinas and get some ideas of what some other harbors are doing, and we could bring this back up next month.
Sounds great.
Sounds fine.
Thank you.
We got plenty of time, so I'll do that, and next month I'll put it on the agenda, but if you just put something in the minutes, Chris, to prompt me, I'll get on that after Christmas.
Yep.
Okay. While we're talking about fees, I think everybody probably noticed that we're on the low end of the lobster truck fees again.
I think we set a precedent.
We set a precedent, but Southwest and Bass Harbor went up to $6,000. So anyway, that was in the
Did
news.
Southwest, I thought what the harbor committee, the selectmen reduced from the harbor committee, they dropped some stuff.
Well, anyway, that was my take. Doesn't matter. We'll live with what we got right now.
I have had my first inquiry, and they didn't blink an eye when I told them $5,000.
Good.
Okay. We have any old business to discuss? What's this Zoom in person going forward, John?
One of the members, I may have been Chris. This is another one for you.
I just asked if we're gonna continue Zoom, or we could do like you're there with him now. They have capabilities at the meeting room to be Zoom and in person. The selectmen are doing it. Just asking for thoughts.
My
have
thought is that right now, our numbers are only going up, and we're having breakthrough cases on people who are vaccinated and boosted, and that it's probably premature. That decision for the selectmen to do it was prior to this latest variant, and I do think it's premature at this time to be in the room. Just my opinion.
Okay.
Well, I think
I'm
the
not-
Zoom meeting has been fairly successful, and we could keep it up for a while.
Yes.
Except me. I'm the one that has the weak link. In the Zoom meeting, that is.
Yeah. I'm not averse to this format.
No, I'm not either, actually. I think it's been pretty successful, especially with Greg and staying in his office and meeting with Cranberry Island people, and it has its advantages.
It works and it's safe.
Yeah,
Agreed.
let's keep it the way it is for right now, okay?
Sounds good.
We can change it later.
Anything else anybody would like to bring up?
Adjournment.
Make a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Carrie.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes,
Christmas.
Merry
everybody.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.